skills, forged their bodies, and sharpened their minds. The stage is set, and they're ready to unleash their might.
Hey, hey. No friends in the industry. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies.
We said 60 minutes. One by one, we're gonna knock it down.
Keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back. Yeah, I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies. My brothers and my enemies. My brothers and my enemies. Yeah, I know hey, yeah. No friends in the industry. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies. A fact. Let us start if we don't wanna keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my
We're gonna be great, man. I can't wait.
We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Fight or Flight podcast. I'm your host, James, and joining me is my jacked and tan friend, Mr. Eric Fajardo. Hope everybody had a great Labor Day weekend. That's why we're doing a Tuesday show. Eric was enjoying his Labor Day like many people, I hope, were as well. I'm a loser, and I was doing nothing. But yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed their Labor Day weekend. We got a ton to cover today. We're 1 week from NFL football. We are closing in. Not even. We're literally 2 days away. Thursday night is the first game of NFL football. Chiefs Lions. Travis Kelce is might be out, which is pretty big news, if you ask me, especially for you, Mr. Eric, who drafted him in the first round of our fantasy draft.
Right away,
first round. This guy. Your first round pick. It's already out. I love to see it. And we might touch a little bit on our fantasy draft at the end of the show because that was a lot of fun. And I'm going to whoop Eric's ass this year. I'm very excited about my team.
I highly doubt it.
We shall see. But we're going to do that. We're going to dive into our stat predictions for the year and what we think is going to happen and how things are going to play out. Now, mind you, we're not analytics guys. These are kind of just off the cuff, looking at things and, seeing how we feel things could play out. And we'll check out how good our guesses were at the end of the year. These are not like we're deep diving into analytics right now because it's only our second show. But it's going to be fun at the end of the year to look how close we were on how the Jets season went. And I think our record is going to be surprisingly good. So we'll get into that. And to start the show off, Eric, our man DJ Reed made a big statement today. And I'll tell you right now, the media is freaking out. Like the regular mainstream media of sports talk radio is losing their mind. And I'll tell you right now, I love every bit of it. I've been waiting for somebody to say something on that team. Like everybody, Garrett kind of said something, but for the most part, everybody's been kind of tiptoeing around how good this team could be. Like no one's really kind of stepped up and was like, hey, this team could be really, really good. Now, DJ Reed, we're going to play what he said in a second, but set some pretty lofty goals and did put a big target on the Jets. Especially their defense. But I'll tell you right now, Eric, every team is going to struggle with our deep defensive line, our corners, our secondary. It's going to be tough sledding for as long as we're healthy. Keep that in mind. Obviously, we need to be healthy, but all things go accordingly. It's going to be very difficult to stop the front seven, putting pressure on with four guys constantly. They're going to constantly be in the quarterback's lap every single game, whether it's 5 to 6 team sacks a game. Like I really think that's in the realm of possibility.
100%. And like realistically, this is the first time we're going to be able to see some complimentary football. right? We're going to have the offense feeding the defense a little bit. They're not going to, it's not going to be a 3 and out. Rodgers isn't going to give the ball away on our own 20. Last year the defense played the majority of the game. This year,
no question.
There's no reason why they shouldn't be confident.
Well, I was watching, I forget what show it was, one of these idiot shows, and he made a pretty valid point, but I don't think it's going to play out well for teams that test the secondary. So he said last year, listen, they were a really good defense, but they played a lot of teams and they were behind in a lot of games. So a lot of teams are just trying to hold on to leads rather than just throwing the ball downfield. He's like, if the offense is as good as expected to be, they could be in the lead and teams could be throwing it 40, 50 times a game on this defense. It's going to be a totally different scheme for this defense rather than what they faced last year.
Yeah, now, I mean, that could affect it in a couple of different ways, though. Sure, it affects the turnovers, right? Like we saw less turnovers, less takeaways, because teams are just going to run the ball, right? They're going to dump it off or run the ball. If we're playing with a lead and that rotation gets to do what it's meant to do, get a little bit of pressure, get a couple of 3rd and longs, have someone like Josh Allen who gets a little funky throwing the ball downfield
with a weak offensive line.
Yeah, so they might score some more points this year, but it's still going to be relative, 1, to the points that we score, and 2, it's going to translate most likely to more takeaways. So it's like,
I think that's exactly. Yep, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think these guys are going to, the defensive line especially is going to be able to pin their ears back. I think we're going to see guys, pass rushing specialist, Bryce Huff, who I think is one of the most underrated pass rushers in the league. Every time he's on the field, he's around the quarterback. It's amazing to see. I think he's going to light up the year this year because we're going to have a lot of leads and he's going to get a lot of playing time. Him and Will McDonald as well. I think they're both going to be able to have a lot of opportunities to pin their ears back and rush the quarterback because we're going to be in the lead in a lot of situations. I truly believe this. And we're facing some tough defenses throughout the year, but I think our offense is going to do a lot better than a lot of people expect when we have a weaker offense, a quote unquote weak offensive line, which I think it's just an unproven offensive line more than anything. I don't think it's a weak offensive line. I think Becton could be an elite right tackle if he plays at his potential.
100%. I mean, I like the ceiling, right? But it's just you still have questions until we know exactly what Dwayne Brown is going to be, what his acclimation period is going to be like. Still recovering from an injury, although he's a freak of nature. And
but Aaron Rodgers with his quick release is the perfect guy to have with a bad offensive line, because not only is he got a quick release, but he may be one of the best quarterbacks ever at reading defenses pre-snap. He's up there with the likes of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning when it comes to pre-snap decisions and reading defenses. So he's going to be able to pick up and move blocking schemes around and send hot routes out there and get the ball out quickly to guys like Dalvin Cook, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Mecole Hardman, all these weapons that he now has that can break a run after the catch. Dalvin Cook can catch the ball. Breece Hall can catch the ball. These are backs that are very talented at all aspects of the running back position. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this defense reacts. So back to what DJ Reed said, I want to play that for everybody in case you missed it. I don't know how you did. The mainstream sports talk is talking about it nonstop. But here's DJ Reed.
Honestly, I think we could be historical, not just the best defense in the league, but I think we could have an historical defense like the 85-86 Bears, like the LOB in 2013. I think we could be that dominant if we put all the things together and we just focus on the now and we're deliberate and everyone plays up to their potential. I think the sky's the limit for us. Honestly, I think we could be historical, not just the best defense.
I love it. I absolutely love it because we've been beating around the bush for too long. This defense has unbelievable talent at every level of the game. Every single level. Our front seven may be the best front seven in football. Our defensive line is stacked. They're going to be fresh constantly. ESPN and Sports Illustrated already rated us the number one cornerback duo in football. DJ Reed, I think, is the most underrated cornerback in football. Nobody gives him any respect as far as his talent and what he was able to do last year in lock. Because people think about our defense and they're like, "Oh, Sauce Gardner, he had a great year," but he didn't follow everybody. Like he just played his position. And Jay Reed had to shut down some of the top guys at certain times as well, and did so every single game, week in and week out. And now he's going to be fresher because he's not going to be on the field as much. Same with Sauce. There's going to be a lot more pressure on the quarterback, and we're going to have leads and be able to really force errors from these quarterbacks. And these guys are going to be able to make some plays and really show themselves. And then in our linebackers, dude, CJ Mosley he used to have, when he was the Ravens, dude, he was a top linebacker in the league. Top linebacker in the league. And he quietly last year, like I gave him a lot of slack for taking that season off. That 1 year, I thought as a leader, he should have been there with the guys and leading the team. But at the same time, every year he plays, he gets 100+ tackles. Yeah,
but he's also like a phenomenal leader as it is. Like, he didn't play that 1 year, but he also, with the new regime that came in, when Saleh came in, if you guys remember, like he changed his body to play the style linebacker that our defense requires. He lost a ton of weight. And he took the sacrifice to make that happen. And you're seeing that that veteran leadership. And that's why I really like that this message came out from DJ Reed, because obviously, we are a young team, but we are headed by veterans. And for the young guys to hear a proven vet like DJ Reed put that kind of target on the team's back, essentially, that means they're believing. I want to see that. I want to hear that. And he knows he got snubbed the Pro Bowl last year.
No question, got snubbed the Pro Bowl, Eric. Go ahead.
And so basically what I'm saying is they're not, smelling the roses, right? They're hungry, and I want our defense to be hungry. Even though they were the clear best part of our team last year, they're still hungry, and I expect them to play hungry, play violent, play fast. It's just solid style defense.
Well, that's exactly what I'm excited for, and we have a guy at the center of our defense. The centerpiece of our defense isn't even Sauce, like back in the day when the centerpiece of our defense was Darrelle Revis. Now, the centerpiece of we had Chris Jenkins when Darrelle Revis was dominant, who's, don't get me wrong, was a very good defensive tackle and went to a couple Pro Bowls, but nowhere near the level of a guy that we have right now in Quinnen Williams, who may be the best defensive tackle in the league this year, arguably was last year. And when you see him in Hard Knocks, the energy that he brings to practice every single time you see him at practice, he's the gasoline for that defense. Like he's setting the tone even in practice. Like he's just getting after it every single play, no plays off. And he's quietly becoming a very good leader of that defense as well, along with CJ Mosley. So I think this defense, DJ Reed is 100% correct in making those statements. Now, when you do make those statements, it puts a huge target on your back. And I'll tell you right now, I think our old coach, Rex Ryan, I think he said it best, Eric. What do you think? Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get the audio from that.
Oh,
I couldn't hear it, but I know it.
Hold on.
This is legendary.
I got to play it then because it's my producer's error.
The best place to be is when expectations are high. Get used to it. It's always going to be that way. And now let's go out and prove everybody right. We know we're better than you. We don't give a fuck if you know it or not. We don't give a shit if you give us your best game. We're going to give you our best game, and we're going to beat the fuck out of you. How's that? Let's go get it.
Damn right.
You can't say it any better. It's not often as a Jets fan that expectations are high. Like really think about it. Over the years of being a Jets fan. Even 97, we didn't have, I was pretty young. You were even younger, but I remember I remember going into the 98 season and how high expectations were. Like, I was really pumped. But 97, when we lost to the Broncos in the AFC Championship, like going into that year, there was some high expectations, but nothing like we're seeing right now.
No.
Even 09 and 10, like 10, we had some high expectations, but it was still like, Mark Sanchez is the quarterback. Can he take that next step? Second year quarterbacks, that's really where they separate the men from the boys. Can he do it? And it wasn't as high as it is right now. Like, our team needs to deliver, and we can't come out, like, especially with how tough our schedule is, we cannot come out 2-4. We cannot come out and be 7-5 like the Tampa Bay Bucks were when Tom Brady made the transition. We can't afford to do that because the AFC is so deep and so tough. We can't afford to be 7-5 at that point in the game, like clawing for a wild card position with the teams that are in this conference.
No, it's gonna be brutal down the stretch. Realistically, they do need to come out fast. I think though, like from that little bit that we got to see with Rodgers on the field against the Giants, they came out pretty fast. I mean, like literally fast. He's getting the ball out in like a second. It's pass play after pass. You know what I mean? He was like, all right, let's go. They're kind of hitting this full force, forcing the timing, forcing that progress, and just you could see the way he approaches practice, how he's demanding that excellence. It's like, he knows that he has to start fast. You could tell. But back to this idea of DJ Reed putting a target on our backs, it's like I feel like this entire organization changed last year when something similar happened and the media jumped down our throats was when with the receipts comment from Saleh. Right?
Yeah,
we lost that first game.
Absolutely, but we definitely didn't follow through. Like, we started out hot, and that got the team going. But not scoring a touchdown the last 6 weeks and going 0-6 when we really realistically only needed to win one game to make the playoffs. It was embarrassing. So as much as that got the team going for that short period of time, I think that he didn't follow through on that. I really don't think that's a good statement.
I think it's just the fact that like he's aware of the talent. He like, you know what I mean? Like regardless of if we sputtered out, we're one play away from going to the playoffs with 4 different fucking quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah,
the worst quarterback play in the league. If there's one thing that I would say you could probably put on Saleh is hiring LaFleur, I guess. But at the end of the day,
I think that was a terrible decision by Robert Saleh. I think that was one of the worst offensive coordinator decisions for a rookie quarterback. He should, and what's his name? Rest in peace, passing away.
Greg Knapp.
Thank you, Greg Knapp. I was drawing a blank. Passing away in a tragedy car accident. I think really affected the growth of not just Zach Wilson but also LaFleur. Being an offensive coordinator, I think Greg Knapp could have been a really good shoulder to lean on as far as scheming and building offensive plans and things like that, which is unforeseen circumstances. But at the same time, you have what you have, and you have to step up and figure things out. Whether it is hire another Greg Knapp type coach or bring in a veteran, which they took way too long to do. Robert Saleh definitely is far from perfect. And I think his receipt statement really stems from the defense, because really, realistically, if Breece Hall stayed healthy, if Mike White didn't get hurt, because when he made that statement, Breece Hall was healthy. When Breece Hall was healthy, AVT was healthy, who was playing at an all-pro level at multiple positions, and Mike White getting hurt even without these guys in the second game against Buffalo, I think really affected us as well. We were in that game. If Mike White didn't get hurt and break his ribs and get crippled, it was a brutal tackle. I remember watching.
Oh my God!
Multiple times. I was like, oh my goodness, like this guy is getting crushed. And I gave him a ton of credit getting out there and keep playing and leading the team, but it wasn't the same Mike White that we saw in weeks prior. I think we could have won that game against Buffalo. So we had a ton of really tough breaks last year when it comes to injuries. And I think if we didn't have those injuries, Breece Hall, no question, we're in the playoffs if he's healthy. he was dominating the league. It would have really made things a lot different. Losing Breece Hall was look at after week 7 and look at our record. It was a total game changer. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think DJ Reed's statements are awesome, but we have to deliver. Our defense is very good. We have the talent. We showed it last year, and we were on the field constantly. With Aaron Rodgers, I think this could be very special, 100%. And we could be looking back. I wish it was made after week 1, because I think week 1, we're going to get into week 1 next week. We're going to do a full pregame review because we have a show right before the game. Very excited for Jets Bills Monday Night Football. Are you going?
No, I'm not going. I'll be in Dallas the following week, though.
Oh man, I wish I knew. My cousin asked if I wanted to go to Dallas. I wanted to go. Maybe I'll make a last minute. Maybe I'll pull a last minute trigger if tickets are cheap.
Dude, do it.
My cousin might be going to that too. He's a big Dallas fan. But we're going to do a big in-depth pregame show of the Bills. But I really think with the weak offensive line that the Bills have and the defensive line and the pressure that we're going to be able to put on Josh Allen, who's shown to struggle in pressure situations. And I'll tell you right now, my brother-in-law is a diehard Bills fan, huge Bills fan. And I had a conversation with him because he actually got to play with Josh Allen in the Tahoe Celebrity Pro-Am.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, wild. And he's like, listen, he's like, I love Josh Allen. He's a great dude, but I think he's more about partying and having a good time than he is about being a professional football player. I think he's enjoying the celebrity too much. He's like, yeah, he loves the party. So I'm not going to say that he's not going to be the same Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Allen has year in and year out dominated football. He's been unbelievable. Yeah. But this is, I think, the weakest offensive line he's ever had.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at since he came in the league, I mean, he never really played the Jets that well. Like, even when we were trash teams, we always kind of play the Bills pretty tough. You know, like, and he tends to have a lot of turnovers when he plays us. Last year, you know, he played pretty terribly. You know, he got that one bomb off to Diggs' first play. I was at that game. And then after that, it was like the pressure was on him. And he's making, you know, he throws an easy pick to Whitehead.
So many errors last year.
Yeah, he was awkward last year. And I think it's only going to get worse for him.
I think it's going to be a very tough. It's funny. I was watching Chris Sims and Florio, and they both thought that the Bills could possibly end up being 4th in the division this year, which is definitely in the realm of possibility. It's definitely. I don't think the Patriots are going to be any good at all. I think they're going to be terrible, actually. I think they're getting a lot of hype because of Bill Belichick. But I think the Bills aren't going to be as good as they have been. I think they're going to really struggle with that weak offensive line. They're one injury away from that offensive line from having a huge problem.
100%. I mean, and their defense has been together for a long time, but they're also going to age out a little bit too. You know, you should see some steps back, I would imagine, from that secondary.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see how they play with Tre'Davious White coming back. He was hurt last year.
Yeah,
Poirier they re-signed. Ed Oliver. They have pieces on that defense, but I don't think they're going to be able to stop the Jets offense and put up the amount of points that they need on the Jets defense to win the game. Like I think they're going to have to put up 20 points to win the game against the Jets offense. They're going to have to put up over 20 points. And I don't think that's going to happen with the Bills offense. And traditionally in NFL, the defenses are usually clicking a lot quicker than the offenses are. Usually it takes the offenses a minute to really get that rhythm and timing down in game speed and game time. Usually weeks 1 and 2, offenses aren't as hot as they are midseason.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%.
Go ahead.
Especially like a defense, like, you know, they're going to be their D-line. They have a good D-line. Like, we have a good D-line. So it's like, you should see two defenses showing up. I think it's going to be whoever's the sloppier offense who's going to lose, you know, because we're built pretty similar. Like, it's a very similar build for a team, offensively and defensively, you know. I just think that they're going to be a little more mistake prone.
I think our offensive line is better. I think our defensive line is better. I think our secondary is better. It's close on the secondary, though. It is.
Yeah, because they're safeties.
They have great exactly. They have great.
You
know, they may have the best safety duo in the league, but at the same time, we have a ton of weapons, and it's going to be very interesting to see Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers' relationship develop. I think it's going to be special. I really do. I think you could see the chemistry already being built in Hard Knocks. He's like, listen, I'm just going to start throwing you the ball, dude. I'm throwing you the ball. Like, he's literally saying this on Hard Knocks. This is why I drafted him the second pick in the second round, because he may lead the league in targets. He may lead the league in receptions. He may lead the league in yards, and he may lead the league in touchdowns if this is as special of a relationship as it looks it could be. So,
I mean, that's what's going to make these stat predictions so wild. It's like you have no idea.
No clue. I really like, just especially the preseason kind of solidified it. That play was beautiful. That touchdown pass was pretty. It was all on timing. The like we said last week, Garrett didn't give him an opportunity to even see the ball coming because he showed his hands so late. It was just a beautiful throw and catch. And perfect timing with a blitz coming. So seeing that really kind of solidified the relationship to me. It's like, wow, like these guys are on the same page. These guys are doing something special, and I think we're going to see a lot of that this season.
And you should only see growth too as it goes. I think they're going to come out hot early, but I think they're going to really tighten it up, and like he's going to get that relationship he had with Devontae with Garrett by midseason, I think.
Oh, I absolutely, but I think we're going to do our predictions for a game next week and what we think how the game is going to play out. But I do think Garrett is good for two tutties on Monday Night Football. I really do. I think he's good for two tutties. It's going to be a fucking good game. But speaking of stat predictions, we got Hard Knocks tonight. I'm very excited for that. I hope everybody's tuning into Hard Knocks to watch the last one of the season, and then it's football on Thursday.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
It's literally football on Thursday. I can't wait. This is our last show, and we're not talking about actual football games, like real football. It's football.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't give a shit about any game until Monday.
No, I like, bro. It's so weird. It's so weird because normally I'm like, hopefully we get 6 or 7 wins. Some years I'm like, all right, let's just tank it. Like, let's get the draft pick. I already know we're garbage. Like, there's many years that it's been like that as a Jets fan. But there's some years where like, we have a decent team, and I'm like, we might get 6, 7, maybe if we can get 9 wins, that'd be pretty sweet. It's never like this year. Like when we get to the record predictions, my record's pretty high. We'll just say it'll break all of Jets records.
I like it.
But you really think about being a Jets fan. There's never not many years where I'm so focused on Jets football and so excited for Jets football, like that any other football team doesn't really matter. Like, I don't give a shit about what's going on in the NFL. Like, I really don't care. Like, normally, like, I'm paying attention to everything that's going on for fantasy purposes, for all these things that are going on. But I'm just like laser focused on Jets football these days because I am so excited for this season. Like, it's been a long time, Eric, since I've been this excited for Jets football, and I can't really focus on anything else, and it's weird. It's a weird feeling.
Well, it's extremely like compelling too. It's not just like from our own personal fandom where it's like, yeah, we're finally going to be good. Like, of course, it's like your own story, right? Like you're the first, you're the main character in the story, but at the same time, like there's so many good storylines from the players, right? Like a Rodgers redemption. I really like this idea. Quinnen has been here since we were just absolute dog shit. And
Mosley
too. The year Quinnen gets paid is the year we bring in Rodgers, and the year it's all coming together. Like, this could be one of the most beautiful football stories ever.
Absolutely, and they're front and center with the attention with the media's coverage because the media can't get enough of talking about Jets, and I love it. There's tons of clips, and also with Hard Knocks, they're all over the place. And then you have they literally when they're going to all these Broadway plays together as a team, like the chemistry that this team has is very special. You can see that they truly enjoy each other's company. They like spending time together, and you don't see besides maybe the New York Giants team when they went down to Miami and took that infamous photo and never ever again. Besides that, you don't really see a lot of teams get together and spend time together like that off the field, where they're like they are, especially as much as they are. They're going to their games, they're going to Broadway plays. Aaron Rodgers is the talk of the town in New York City. It's much different. But go ahead, Eric.
I was gonna say, that's just a testament to the kind of players that Saleh and JD are bringing in. They pick a specific kind of person, not just a specific kind of talent. You know what I mean? And now you're kind of seeing the benefits as all these guys mature a little bit, as they all start to build confidence and camaraderie. You're seeing these guys are all ball all the time, no matter what. And it's they're a real team. I haven't seen a team like that.
No question. No, I even when we were really good, our defense had a really good chemistry. But word on the street is Mark Sanchez ate lunch by himself. That was what rumors were swirling around. Nobody really messed with Mark Sanchez. So it's not like it is right now. It's really wild to see. And I think it's going to turn out to be something special this year, and it's going to shock a lot of people. And if we get more than 1 year with Aaron Rodgers, if we get 2-3 years, there's a potential to really make some very big waves and put maybe a couple trophies next to that one. It's very possible. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I want to get the first one done first, but the way the team is shaping up, we have all of the pieces and we're only going to get better. And I think to your point, Eric, it's a lot of these guys are dogs. I saw Jets media put out a video asking everybody who's the biggest dog on the team, and everybody was saying themselves. I love that shit. We got a bunch of dogs on the team. We really do. And like I said earlier, Quinnen Williams setting the tone, and Quinnen Williams bringing that much energy at practice, and yo, I got 11 sacks. I'm coming, Aaron. I got 11 sacks, dude. That kind of energy. When he's in the quarterback's face every single play, not mess around. After he just got one of the biggest deals in defensive tackle history, goes to show the type of character that he is and how great he wants to be. And if he goes out there this year and puts up stats like he did last year, you expect nothing but Hall of Fame career, quality career out of him. Because usually, especially defensive tackles, we've seen it how many times where these guys get paid and then they fall off the face of the earth. Aaron Donald got paid and made plays, but it doesn't happen often. It really doesn't.
No, he's a freak of nature though. But Quinnen is young. He's still young. People forget he's a young dude, man. To get paid at that age, to be that, and I think also it all is coming together at once. It's like I was saying before. It's he's getting paid right as we're about to be good. You know what I mean? Right as we're about to hit this little Super Bowl window. It's the perfect storm of use money for motivation type thing, and how the culture is shifted. It's just, you couldn't have written a better story. You know, and especially the first couple of years, you're like, damn, is he going to pan out? But
absolutely. The first few years, especially, it was man, Quinnen might not be the guy. He may be a little soft for the NFL. And he last year just turned it up and became one of the best defensive tackles, if not the best defensive tackle in football last year. What did he have? 12 or 13 sacks?
12. Yeah. 12.
Unbelievable. As a defensive tackle, you don't hear that number that often.
And he's getting doubled on every play.
Oh, no question. He's going to get tripled. This is why I think a lot of guys are going to eat.
Random note: is Carl Lawson ever going to get a holding call? Is he ever going to get one? You think? I don't think he got one last year.
He's so fast. Go ahead.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I think I might have watched him get held on every single game at least once.
And he's so fast off the line. And I'm very interested. I don't think the Jets got a lot of calls last year. I really don't. I don't think with pass interference, there was a lot of calls last year that the Jets should have got that they did, and they had a couple bogus calls. Like I think there was one with Zach Wilson in a grounding or something. I forget. It was after he fumbled the snap over his head. And they got a terrible call on. They got a lot of really bad calls last year. I got to remember specifics, but it was. It's going to be very interesting. Maybe we get because we have Aaron Rodgers, we get the Michael Jordan type treatment as far as calls go. That does happen. And he have a good relationship with a lot of the refs. You see him joking around with the refs in between plays, even when he's talking shit. He's like messing with the refs.
Love to see it.
So we might get better treatment this year because we have a actual chance. And I think the NFL's question will be rigged. But especially, with the referees, you can never, the NFL, you can never talk crap about the referees. No players, no matter what call. I always go back to the Saints Vikings game. That was one of the most egregious pass interference, no calls of all time. And it really changed the outcome of the game. Things like that. But it's still, and it is entertainment. It is a business. They make a ton of money with matchups and things like that. You have to keep that in mind. But we're still fans, and we still love the game. We still tune in, and we don't know the outcome. Somehow,
no, 100%.
Somehow Vegas does, but Vegas always does. But I digress. Speaking of Vegas, let's dive into some of our stat predictions for the year. This is going to be fun because we'll be able to look back at the end of the year and see how accurate we were and see how close we were with some of our guesses. And because these are blatant guesses, this is straight on feel based on, what I saw last year, statistics from last year, and things like that. I have not done any deep dive research to look into this. And Eric, I know you haven't. You were partying your balls off yesterday, celebrating our friend's birthday on Labor Day. So these are just complete wild guesses based on feel, and I still think I'm going to be pretty damn fucking accurate in my wild guesses, and I'm definitely going to beat Eric. Definitely.
I just when you really sit and look at it, you have kind of an idea, and then when you try to put logic behind it, it's it's really, really tough. For me, the running backs, I don't know if how much you've looked into that. I think it's gonna be impossible to predict those.
It's gonna be very difficult. I think a lot of things are gonna be very difficult. The one thing that goes through my head when I'm looking at this stat sheet right now is there's a lot of mouths to feed. There's a lot of people that are gonna get the ball, and on defense as well. There's a lot of playmakers on the defense, and I think a lot of people are going to eat, whether that bites into people like Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner, or whether that spreads more love to that. It's going to be very interesting to see, and also how our offense being good makes our defense going to be better. So there's so many variables to even looking at last year's statistics and taking a guess as to what we're going to be able to do and guess. Because you're right, the running backs are tough. I think Izzy's going to get some play. I think Carter's going to get some play. It's going to be interesting. So I got a little spreadsheet built for us, and we're going to start here with the quarterbacks and Aaron Rodgers. We're going to stick to the main guys for the most part. We're not going to go really, really deep into the roster. We're not going to do like Zach and things like that. But Aaron Rodgers, let's start with passing yards, Eric. What do you think Aaron's going to do this year as far as passing yards goes. New York Jets.
See, this one was tough because it's like you are expecting the defense to hold up their end, right? So you're expecting us to hold on to some leads, but we also are playing some pretty good offenses. So like, could you see the Eagles being a shootout, or do you see that more of like a dogfight? Could you see the Bills being a shootout? It's going to be tough. You got the Dolphins twice a year; they're going to be putting up points. So I could see him hitting like 42-45, but I could see even more. Like, you see some crazy Mahomes seasons. If I had to put one down, I would say 44.
44 even?
Yeah.
All right. Eric is in at 44. So for Aaron Rodgers' career, let's take a look at this. I have it right here.
This would be one of his most yards in a season, because I think he might have hit 46 one time.
So Aaron Rodgers hit 46 in the Super Bowl year when he had a top 5 defense. So that's something to keep in mind. He had a 4,600 year with 45 touchdowns, but he hovers around the 4,000 yard mark, couple below 3,000, but for the most part, he's around 4,100, 4,200 yards for his career. Let's go to there we go. We have averages. Any averages? No. Okay. So for his career, that would be the second most passing yards in his career.
Yeah.
Which, listen, I'm kind of close to you as well. I really do think we have a great offense. I'm not quite as high. I think he's going to be in like the 4,250 range, the 4,200 range, because I don't think he's going to need to be able to need to throw the ball as many times this year as he has in the past. I think we're going to be able to rely on our running game a lot, and he's going to be able to set up the play action and do a lot of play action passes. But I do think he's going to throw the ball a fair amount of times. So I think it's going to be 4,200 yards. I just don't think it's going to be like 80-yard drives every time. Like, we're going to have good field position. We're going to have, the ball inside the 50 when we start our drives in many cases, because our defense is good. So it's not like we have to drive down the whole entire field. Every touchdown that we score, it's going to be, 40, 50 yards down the field. So I think he's going to be around the 40-50 range.
You're pretty close on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising because he's been around that his entire career, and we do have a ton of talent on the team. And it's very possible that he has a career year. It's very possible that he breaks 5,000 yards this year. Like, that wouldn't surprise me. Like, career year, 5,000 yards, have a unbelievable, record-setting year, not just as a Jets quarterback, but for his own personal records as well. We have that much talent on the team, and the pressure of winning games and comeback victories and things like that, I don't think is going to be there as much. There's going to be a lot of tight games, but I think our defense is just so good that
it's just such a tough schedule. That's the only thing, you know what I mean? Like, and obviously we're part of that, but it's like, I could see that first half of the year, he might have to, it might be a lot of checkdowns and just getting the ball out and just a lot of yak opportunity. And we have so many yak guys, dude. People forget, Dalvin Cook burned an 81-yard TD last year. He's not completely gone yet. We know what Brees has got, so just the yak opportunity I really like. I'm hoping it is 41, and because we play with a lead every single game. But I think he still has enough to maybe get the numbers up.
Even if we have a lead, especially against teams like the Patriots, I'll tell you right now, if we have a lead and it's like a blowout, let's just say it's 42-14 or something like that, and we're just crushing them. I do not want to let up. Just let's set up play actions and throw bombs down the field. Like, let's dominate these guys because of the times they've done it to us year in and year out. Like, I no let up off the gas against teams like the Patriots. Like, keep scoring, keep pressure on, high-powered offense. Like, don't slow down one bit. So I hope that's the case against teams like the Patriots, which we should. Like, we should be able to run up the score against the Patriots and really just put a whooping on them. We have a better team on paper. They have a good defense. They had a top 5 defense, but their offense is atrocious.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they had a great defense, just like we had a great defense. But what's the biggest thing everyone talks about with us is that we played a bunch of backup quarterbacks. They played the same backup quarterbacks.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So they're a little bit, they can. I think we could expose them.
Oh, no question. But again, it is a Bill Belichick coach team. And as much as I hate Bill Belichick, he's one of my most despised human beings in the universe. Not just because of him being the coach of the Patriots, but because of what he did to the Jets when Bill Parcells just gave him the keys to the castle and told us to get fucked.
Yep.
I can't, I can never let him live that down. So, but I do think he's gonna break 4,200 yards. I think it's gonna be a solid year. I think he's gonna be consistent throughout his career. Just because it's not gonna be full length field drives in many cases. It's gonna be a lot of run games because our running game is so good. All 4 of our guys are gonna eat we're going to have the lead in many cases, I think, just because our schedule is tough. I think that's like, if our schedule wasn't so tough, I'd say less than 4,000 yards. Because it wouldn't be necessary to throw the ball.
So then as we wrap up Rodgers' yards and get into touchdowns, how many times do you think he goes over 400? Or do you think he even does go over 400 in a game this year?
He hasn't done it many times in his career, I don't think.
No.
I really don't think he has.
Yeah, he usually doesn't, I feel like. But
let's
again, with the gas we got on offense right now, and like just like the yak, like him and Hackett are running what they want to run. I think he's going to
this offense. He helped create this offense. No question, he helped create this offense. Aaron Rodgers, 400-yard games. Let's see. So in his career, Aaron Rodgers has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 400-yard games in his career. So 9 of them, 1 being against the New York Jets in 2018.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
2018 dominated us. We were terrible then. We were absolutely terrible. It was home too. 442 yards, 37-55, 2 tutties. Very, very, very good game. So I do think he's going to have at least 1 400-yard game. And honestly, dude, again, we're doing stat predictions next week for our Monday night game for the game, but I think one of them is going to be next week. I think he's going to put up numbers. He's going to make a statement. Aaron Rodgers is like 9 for his last 9 on Monday Night Football. He owns prime time. He always does. He always steps up to the occasion. And I really think he's going to make a statement and let the entire league know, like, hey, I'm still here, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I'm still the best in football. Like, I don't care what anybody says. I'm doing ayahuasca. I'm doing all these things. Like, I don't care. I'm still here. I'm still a great quarterback, and this is a statement game. And I think I think it's going to be 403 yards, just over 4 tutties. I think
I like it.
Have a big
and
game.
All he's been doing all off season is every night he always somehow sneaks in a little something for the fans. Somehow. He either referencing Jets history or threw us that bone saying that this isn't a one year deal. Like, it's gonna be a rabid fan base on Monday. It's gonna be full house. It's gonna be lights. It's gonna be absolutely insane. Fire Ned is gonna force everyone to get in there at 7:00. It's just gonna be madness.
September 11th. Like, we need, like, I wish if I didn't have a handicapped dog, I would be flying home to go to this game. Because not only is it two New York teams, Bills versus the Jets, Bills being the only true New York team. But we're right over the Hudson, the Jets in New Jersey, not far at all from the stadium. On 9/11, there's going to be a great remembrance, which I think is going to be awesome. Very excited for that. And everybody should be in the stadium for that. And I fully expect playoff game against the Patriots loud in Jet Stadium. Like, that's what I expect the energy to be. At 8 o'clock before kickoff, like a half hour before kickoff, that place should be rocking, like, so loud. The Bills should hear us in the locker room. They should be like, oh crap, like, they are ready to go. The fact that the Jets Giants preseason game sold out should tell you how hyped and excited the Jets fans are, and I fully expect them to be there. And I wish we were doing a whiteout. I wish that was what they were sending around, because they're wearing the throwbacks, the white throwbacks.
Yeah, everyone's gonna wear them anyway. They sold out of those so fast.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean? It's going to be packed with those jerseys.
But what I'm saying is, like, the whole stadium in white. Everybody, like, if you don't got a white jersey, like, bust out white, like a full white out, like college football style. You walk in there, that shit is all white. It would be epic. But I think it's going to be a very, very big statement game for the Jets, and I think it has to be. I really do. I think it's going to have to be. But before we'll talk more about that next week, because I'm getting really excited. Passing touchdowns, Eric. Passing for Aaron Rodgers.
This one was kind of tough too. This year,
his most in his career is 48 in 2020.
Yeah.
He's got 1, 2, 3 over 40 in his career. 1 at 40 even, 1 at 45, and 1 at 48.
Wow. Dude, I don't know if you saw. Boomer has him at like over 50.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead. So continue.
Yeah. I would say, like, I'm still going to kind of stick to my guns. Although our defense is going to be good, I think a lot of games are going to be won on the back of Rodgers. I also do think that he is petty enough to try to make a statement against the Patriots, and they're going to run that shit up.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to score a lot of points. I think he's going to throw for a lot of yards. I think he's going to throw a lot of touchdowns. I'm going to put him at 46.
Eric is in at 46. That's a fucking good season. I think 4,400 yards, 46 touchdowns would shatter the passing yards for a season and the touchdowns for a Jets quarterback by a long shot. I think the most is 28 by Fitzpatrick in 2015. Yes. It's almost double. That's almost double. So I'm with you in the 40s. I'm right there with you, dude, in the 40s. And I think he's gonna have a career year. And I think he's gonna compete for the MVP. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be an MVP candidate this year with this offense that he helped construct, with the schedule that we have, and the weapons that we have on offense. I think he's going to put up 43 touchdowns, so 4,250 yards with 43 touchdowns. I like it. I think he's going to have a really, really good year, and it's going to be very difficult to stop him from winning the MVP with statistics like that. And Aaron Rodgers, for his career, is known to not throw interceptions. Like last year was one of the highest interceptions for his career at 12.
12, yeah.
Yeah, most years he's at 4 or 5, couple at 8, couple at 7. But for the most part, he's at 4 or 5, except for in 2008, his first year in the league playing, he threw 13. So he's very, very good at not turning the ball over. And I don't think he's going to need to force a lot of balls because our defense isn't going to put him in bad positions.
No, and he just has a lot of options. Like just think of his check down options are just ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like I think they're gonna have Lazard and Hardman just running down the field because you have to account for him. Mm-hmm. Big body, speedster, and you get a guy with such precise route running like Garrett to kind of carve up the middle. And then if none of that's there, you got your tight ends, you got your running back. It's just.
I'm excited to talk about the tight ends because I think the tight end room is severely under talked about, and I was able to grab Tyler Conklin very late in our draft, and I'm super excited because I think he's going to be a top tight end in fantasy this year with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback, who loves to feed and feature his tight end very much, and so does Paul Hackett.
Nathaniel.
His father's Paul Hackett. I always call him Paul. Nathaniel Hackett. Sorry. Old Nate Dogg over here. I think it's really going to be a career year for Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to be around the 5, 6, 7 range as far as interceptions for the season. He's got so many check down weapons that guys can get the ball up the field, even on a quick slant or a swing route. And he's going to be able to utilize that very much so because defenses are going to have to pick their poison at a certain point. They're either going to have to stop the run or they're going to have to commit to the pass. It's going to be very difficult for many defenses. So I think 43, 46, we're very, very, very close on that. Let's move on to the running back room. Okay. Wait till next year when we've been doing this for a year and we can get some cool fucking graphics and like running back or boom, boom.
Yeah. Make it a lot smoother too.
Yeah,
I can't even see the spreadsheet.
Let me see if I can zoom in.
It's all right.
Somehow.
I'm old school. I write everything down, dude. I'm always writing. That's it.
Well, we have it in our email, so you can have a copy. So let's start with who I think is going to be the feature back week 1, Dalvin Cook, who I think is going to be our lead back week 1. I think there's going to be some 2-back sets, but I think if you go by touches, I think we're going to see more touches for Dalvin Cook than any of the running backs. And he's still coming off an injury, so I think the week 1 we're going to see a lot more Michael Carter and Izzy as well week 1 than people expect because Dalvin Cook had a short off season with his injury and signing with us so late. And Breece Hall is definitely not 100%. I don't expect a lot from him the first couple of weeks of the season. I expect him to see the field and get some touches, but not nearly the workload we should expect from him late in the season. So Dalvin Cook, rushing yards. Eric, what do you think? Do you think Dalvin Cook gets to 1,000 yards this year for the 5th or 6th time in a row?
Man, it's tough. I feel like once they're both, fully in the offense, like, because I forget who was talking. I think it was on the radio. Like, a lot of people are saying, like, they could see Breece as the guy getting us the yards, Cook scoring touchdowns, right? Sort of like what Breece did his rookie year, and Michael Carter had all those, like, 1-yard touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Breece is carrying guys 98 yards. But I don't know. I feel like, Breece's ability to cut, I think, is going to be a little hindered.
Yeah.
But people forget he's not easy to tackle. He can run goal line. Like he's a big dude. Yep. He's still fast, straight line, and lowers his shoulders. So it's like it's really tough to try to predict. I'm not sure if either of them gets to 1,000 this year. I think just from the workload split. But I think Cook is going to jump out early, and I think he'll get closest. And I have him at 850, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets over 9.
So his 5-year streak is he got 4 years in a row of over 1,100 yards.
Yeah, I know.
Which is insane.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Especially in today's NFL where it's a pass heavy NFL. He's averaged 4.7 for his career. And he's got 6,000 yards. If he could stay healthy and play a couple more years, he could definitely be a 10,000 yard back, which is very, very impressive, especially in today's NFL. And I think our running game is going to be. This is why I was a little lower on Aaron Rodgers as far as statistics compared to you. He's still really high, but I really think our running game is going to be heavily utilized. I think we're going to have a lot of leads. I think we have such a deep backfield with 4 guys who can, we saw in the preseason, Izzy could take it to the house at any moment. Michael Carter has proven himself. Like last year was an off year. He really needs to prove himself this year and come back and be the Michael Carter of 2 years ago. If he's not going to be on the roster going forward in future years. So he's got a big, prove it year. And, Dalvin Cook is Dalvin Cook, and Breece Hall. We've never seen, besides Adrian Peterson, a guy come back from an ACL tear and have an unbelievable year. It's going to be an interesting year, but Dalvin Cook specifically, I think he's going to come out hot. I think he's going to have a lot of opportunity. But I think at the end of the year, he's going to be the back that's going to break 1,000 yards for the Jets this year.
I'd love to see it.
I think just barely break it. I think he's going to be like 1,070 yards, something like that. I don't think he's going to break it by much, but because of the early season work, because I if he stays healthy, this is obviously if he stays healthy. I think so. You said 850.
I said 850. Yeah.
I think he stays healthy. He's talented enough that he can be relevant at the end of the season when we're still playing meaningful games. I don't think Breece Hall is going to just completely take over the backfield because Dalvin Cook is still Dalvin Cook. I think he's still going to demand touches in the game. So I think he's going to, because of the early season work, he's going to eclipse 1,000 yards and be the lead back for the, I think first 4 to 5 weeks, just dominating our offense. Now, Breece Hall, who he comes up next, who I think is going to be the lead back, come, weeks 15, 16, 17 at the end of the year. I think he's going to get the dominating touches, but I don't think it's going to be really until, week 10, week 11 till we start to see that transition of Breece Hall taking over the lead role of running back in the backfield because Dalvin Cook is going to, I think, demand touches. He's going to play at a high level, and it's going to be very difficult. Like watching the game, it's going to be like, all right, how do you take this guy out when he's been playing so well for us, kind of thing, Yeah.
I think that if you look at Cook's recent seasons, beginning of the year he comes out hot. As the year progresses, he tends. I mean, like most running backs do, regardless. He starts to kind of fall back a little bit. I forget the exact numbers. I don't have them in front of me, but it's pretty consistent. And I think on his dip down is going to be right when Breece is going to hit. And let's say it's the last 8 games Breece is in. Is it that inconceivable that, that he wouldn't be able to rush for a hundo in his, 8 games in a row?
Oh, no, not at all. Not, it's definitely not inconceivable at all. But the thing is, we have Aaron Rodgers as our quarterback, and I think our running backs are going to be used a lot more in the passing game. Like I think about Aaron Jones. I think about previous running backs during Aaron Rodgers' career. They were all heavily used in the passing game. I think that's where our running backs are really going to shine as far as this year goes, especially Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall, I think most of his workload is going to be at the end of the year taking swing passes. And it's going to be very interesting to see how they do this goal line split. And what they do in the goal on the goal line, because both those guys could take it to the house, run it through. But they also can, put the ball in the end zone on the 1 yard line. They're both very capable of doing so. But because of Breece Hall's knee injury, and only because of Breece Hall, like if Breece Hall didn't have a knee injury, I'd be putting him at like 12 to 1,300 yards. I think he'd have an unbelievable year. He's that dominant of a football player on the field when he's healthy. But because we have Dalvin Cook, and we wouldn't have Dalvin Cook if Breece Hall was healthy as well. I mean, let's be real.
True.
Breece is 100%. We would not have Dalvin Cook. So I'd put him at the full workload, 3 down back, 1,300 yards. But because of that, because of his injury, I think he's going to come out slow. I think he's going to come close. I'm putting him at 930.
I like it. I'm going 950.
950?
Yeah. I think he can do it, though. I still think even the limited touches he gets in the first, 5-6 weeks, he can still hit 40, 50 yards. And he could still break one realistically. Like,
That's a big question mark, though, dude. I mean, that's a huge question mark with Breece Hall. I mean, the reason that throughout football history, there's been many cases of guys coming back from an ACL injury. Many cases. This has happened over and over and over and over and over again in football. And there's very few cases out of the thousands of cases this has happened where a guy has come back and absolutely looked like the guy of old. And I think there's only one case, in my opinion, that it's really been, and that's Adrian Peterson when he won the MVP that year. Other than that, everybody comes back. They're like, oh, I feel great. I look great. The coaches say they talk positive about them, but you could see on the field, they're not the same guy, especially the first couple weeks back. They're really getting a feel for the game. So I think that's really going to hold Breece back a little bit this year. I think next year we should expect, a RB1 in fantasy, like tons of touches and really take that breakout year. But coming back from an ACL injury, especially as quick as he is doing, is not easy. Medicine has gotten 100% better, no question. But it's going to be tough to get that many yards with the talent. Like if we didn't have the wide receiver talent, if we didn't have the tight end talent, if we didn't have Dalvin Cook, no question, he'd be higher. But because of the circumstances and the amount of touches that need to go around elsewhere, I think it's going to be tough for him to break 1,000 yards this year. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he comes out and tears off, week 10. He's like 100 yards in a row, like every week. It'd be awesome.
You never know. I mean, like when they showed him on Hard Knocks and like you see him without his pads on, he's very muscle bound. He's very, very big, like way bigger than I thought. He's huge.
He's a genetic
freak. And
freak.
That's what reminds me of Adrian Peterson. And I think that's kind of like, he's kind of like a one-cut guy, one-cut, get upfield as fast as possible. So it's like, I think it's going to depend on what side they're running him to. I think, there's a lot of different factors, especially when it comes to, the mechanics of running and how to come back from an ACL. But we saw Jamal Charles do it the exact same year as Adrian Peterson. He put up 15.
Yeah, he did. It doesn't. Those are outlier situations. And I guess
what I'm saying is, I think there's a good chance Breece is an outlier, just from like the level of talent that we got to see last year. Like I think there's a good chance he's one of those freaks.
It's very possible. It's very possible. Listen, I'm not going to say that you're wrong by any stretch of the means. I think that's definitely in the realm of possibility. But, if I was a betting man, gun to my head, I couldn't make that. I couldn't say definitively, like, stand on that and be like, hey, Breece Hall is going to come back and be the Breece Hall of old and be one of those genetic freaks. It's just hasn't happened enough. And I think he definitely can be. He's a specimen human being. But football is a very demanding sport. And there's a lot of specimens on the football field. I mean, there's some freaks on the football field. And it's not just a running back with torn ACLs. Like we've seen some very freak athletes get injuries like that and did not return the same because of a torn ACL. So it's very, very tough. It's not even just running backs. So I think a lot of people are going to look at our 930 for Brees and 950 and be like, you guys are fucking nuts. You guys are out of your minds. Because of not even Jets fans, because of how many touches have to go around, and because of the injury. But I think there's a lot of talent there. I think Brees Hall can potentially break 1,000 yards, and I think 930 is a good number for me. Touchdowns. What do you think about rushing touchdowns? Or no, let's keep it rushing yards. Sorry. We got to do Michael Carter and Izzy. Michael Carter. What do you got for Michael Carter?
I didn't prep Carter, but if I like off the top of my head, I could see him. I would say I think they're going to have a role, but I mean, what would you guess? Like, how many touches a game realistically for Carter and Izzy?
Or maybe 6 between the two of them.
Yeah.
I listen. I'm putting them both. I'm putting Izzy at like 200 yards. Michael Carter at 250. I'm keeping it simple.
I have them flipped.
Izzy at 250 and Carter at okay. So I have 250, and you have 200, and I have 200, and you have 250. Yeah, I don't see them seeing a lot of time, but I think early on in the year, especially with Dalvin Cook, I think they're going to see some more touches than normal. Like I think maybe the first 3 or 4 weeks we might see them get between the two of them 11, 12 touches a game between the two of them, because Dalvin Cook is still fresh coming off a shoulder injury, shoulder surgery. Brees Hall is coming off the ACL. It's very, very possible that we see more Michael Carter or Izzy or a combination of the two in the first couple weeks. But I don't think they're going to see, especially late in the season, much time at all, barring injury.
No. And realistic, and also like what I like about this regime is when it comes to running backs, whoever's producing gets the fucking ball.
Oh no,
we saw it last year. You know what I mean? It's not like I think we touched on it last week. It's not Gase just giving Frank Gore the ball 35 times a game. You know what I mean? And not getting Le'Veon Bell involved. Like if Izzy breaks one and then has a couple good runs, I mean, he's gonna touch the ball a little bit more than Michael Carter. Even though I love Michael Carter as a back.
I think Michael Carter's in a prove it year, and I think Michael Carter he's outperformed Izzy in camp. I think he's really got to show up with the limited opportunities he's got. I think a lot of it's going to be in the passing game, but I think I don't think he's going to get a lot of running. But both of them, a lot of their yards out of the 200 and 250 that we both think they're going to get respectively. A lot of them are probably going to be on 1 or 2 runs each. Like Izzy could get the ball and hit a 70-yard run, and that could be the bulk of his 250 yards. Like, really think about it. So they're not going to get a lot of touches, especially, like I said, at the end of the year. I think it's going to really be the Dalvin Cook and Brees Hall show towards the end of the year. But at the beginning of the year, we might see a lot more of those guys than we actually expect. And especially in the passing game, I think Michael Carter can really make a difference in the passing game. So let's move on to touchdowns. Dalvin Cook, touchdowns. What do we got?
For Cook, TDs, this is the one that I was telling you about. This is the toughest one for me to even think about.
This is rushing touchdowns, by the way.
Right, yeah, rushing touchdowns. This is the toughest one for me to think about because you're not going to want to run Brees all the time on the goal line.
No.
You don't want him getting rolled up on. But then again, Cook's coming back from a shoulder injury, which means he needs to make contact. And you're probably not going to want him to. It's tough. I'm gonna say Cook scores a lot this year. I think he's gonna go off a little bit.
So
and,
here's his stats throughout his career. Last year at 8, year before he had 6, then he had 16, 13, 2, 2. So he's put up some numbers as far as touchdowns go.
Yeah, 16 is crazy.
16 is bananas. Go ahead.
I could see him getting over 10 though. I could see that.
Really?
Yeah, really? I could see it.
So what number are you going with?
I'm gonna put him right at 10.
Right at 10. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think that he might not have the yardage that Brees does, but I think Brees is gonna score maybe like more receiving touchdowns. they're already starting to split them out. I think you're going to see Brees split out, Cook in the backfield, a tight end. You know what I mean? Like, I think that, and then Rodgers is just going to make the call on the field, whether hand it off or throw it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just, I feel like it's going to be a toss-up every time we're in the goal line. But I just think that you run behind ABT and Becton. Run behind ABT and Becton.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah, good luck.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
good
that's
luck.
it. And I think that
Both
Cook
of
is
those
going
guys-
to be in position for that.
I agree, but I like I said at the end of the year, I really think we're going to see the transition, especially the last 3 or 4 games and into the postseason, where Brees Hall is just dominating the touches. So I think he's going to get a decent amount of touchdowns, but I don't think it's going to be 10. I think it's going to be 8 touchdowns for Dalvin Cook.
I like it.
I think he's going to have a lot of goal line opportunities, especially early on. But I think Brees Hall is such a physical specimen, dude. He can jump over. He can run through. He can do so many things when he's 100% healthy. And I think at the end of the year, he's going to take all of the goal line touches. I don't think Dalvin Cook will get touches, but I think every single time. Because also, let's be real, Dalvin Cook or Brees Hall is the future. And then, but there's also I just came to my head a counterpoint that because we have Dalvin Cook for just 1 year, there's a very good possibility that we just run the wheels off the guy. Like we just like Brees Hall is second fiddle the entire year just to get he's still getting touches, but it's very possible that Dalvin Cook is just, a workhorse this year for us and getting tons and tons of touches. But I still have him at 8. I would put him higher, but because I think Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson are going to eat up a lot of those touchdowns, and I also think our tight ends are going to eat up a lot of goal line touchdowns because we're going to run a lot of play actions. I think we're going to set up a lot of play actions on the goal line. Aaron Rodgers has the best play action in football, maybe even in history, and we have so many weapons that we're going to get. These guys are going to get receiving touchdowns from these play actions as well. So I think it's not going to be a run every single time we're on the goal line in these goal line 1 yard opportunities. So I think 8 is my number. Brees Hall, what do you think?
I think for rushing TDs, I have him at 8.
8?
Yeah.
Well, I am matching you because I am going 8 as well. I think 16 total touchdowns from our running backs is a lot. I think that's going to really eat into a lot of the weapons that we have on the outside. But I do think that we're going to be scoring a lot this year.
And I think there's a good chance that when we are running out the clock, and we have a lead, I think we're still going to score on those opportunities.
Oh yeah, break runs, no question.
Yeah, like what Sean Green did. You remember, Sean Green had those back-to-back weeks where he did that.
Oh my goodness, amazing! It's amazing.
Where we could have just ran the clock out, but we scored. You know what I mean? I think there's a good chance.
Angles in the Chargers, it was great.
Yep, that's why I have his jersey. And the one time I wear it, I get on TV.
I know it's amazing. So let's breeze through Michael Carter and Izzy. I think both of them. I think we're going to see 3 between the two of them. Whether it's 2 for Izzy and 1 for Michael Carter, or 1 for Izzy and 1 for Michael Carter. I think you go either way, but I think between the 3 of them, we might see 3 total touchdowns. But I don't think there's going to be many. I think 3 is even stretching it.
I think Izzy will get 2. I mean, you saw he could get to the pylon. They might use him, in those situations just for a little bit of speed, and also it's gonna wear down their defense having him run fucking sideline to sideline. I just think game plan wise, they're gonna give him that look, and I think that he has a better capability of finishing the run. I love Carter. I think he's got a lot of potential. He's just, he's gonna be
more used in the receiving game personally. I think he's good for 2 receiving touchdowns. I don't think he's going to get many rushing touchdown opportunities unless he breaks one off, which he definitely can. He has the ability to do so. But just to keep it moving, because they're not going to see a lot of times, let's go to receptions. Dalvin Cook, how many receptions do you think he's going to have in his career? He's had 39, 34, 44, 53, 40, and 11 in his career.
Yeah. I would probably – I think we are going to throw to the backs a lot. I think, you probably put him like 18 maybe.
18.
I think we're going to be – what I'm saying is I'm thinking Garrett's going to get double-teamed a lot. Garrett's going to start the season hot. He's going to start getting double-teamed. They're going to keep trying to put pressure. We're going to be dumping it off. We're going to be throwing screens. I think there's going to be some tricky screens too, like off of some, jet sweep like type shit where he's kind of, sneaky with that little dump offs. I could see him getting around 18 receptions. And then, that's kind of where I have him. But that's still unpredictable for me.
I have 23 myself. I'm with you. I think our running backs are going to be utilized heavy in the passing game all year, both of them. I think this is going to be, especially with our weak offensive line, I think they're going to be huge check down options. Both guys can break screens and go to the house and any given opportunity if there's open space. And I think, like you said earlier, Breece is going to play a lot in the slot. I think Breece personally is going to get a lot more receptions, not a lot more, but I think he's going to get more receptions because he's going to play a lot more slot time than Dalvin is. But I do think Dalvin Cook's going to get 23 receptions this year. He's so good and so dynamic out of the backfield, and to not utilize that, I think is going to be it would be silly in my opinion to not get the ball in these guys' hands, especially early on in the year when the offense is kind of gelling and figuring things out. There's going to be a lot of dump offs. So 23 is really not a lot of receptions in my mind. But based on our talent and how much we have, like I've said many times, I think 23 is the number for me. Moving on to Breece Hall, what do you think?
I got him at 30.
30, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I think he's catching out of the backfield, but he's also lining up. So I think that kind of gives him a little bit more of the edge, and I think they're going to go to him a lot. Because you got to think too, right? He's going to have a hard time cutting laterally, right? So coming from the backfield, getting the ball, making those cuts, I think is going to be tougher for him than just stepping back, catching a screen or running a bubble. You know what I mean? And then just give him, because you want to give him that straight line because he's going to be lightning.
Yep, so, they're going to give it to him in open space, no question.
Exactly. So I have him up a little bit higher. But again, it's going to be really it's so many mouths to feed. It's impossible to even think about.
It's tough. I think you look at Dalvin Cook, like let's take for example, let's see Austin Eckler, who gets a lot of passes out of the backfield. Let's see how many he gets in his career or a season. Last year he had 107.
Holy shit.
Yeah, 107 receptions, but he gets 70, 54, 92, 39, and 27. So he gets a lot more touches out of the backfield than guys like Dalvin Cook. But Breece Hall, I think, can catch the ball like Austin Eckler if they gave him the opportunity. That actually kind of changes my Breece Hall statistic.
How many did he have last year?
Breece Hall in the 7 games. Let's see.
Now I'm going to have to jump this up. Like, I'm going to have to triple this number.
Last year, he had 19 receptions in the 7 games.
Whoa.
Yeah. My number is going up. It was going to be 27, but no, I'm going up. So for Breece Hall, if you want to change yours, you can. For Breece Hall, I am going to go with 37. I'm going to add 10 extra than I originally thought, only because of the injury and the mouths that we have to feed. But I'm not going to go crazy because we have so many weapons. We have, again, if Dalvin Cook wasn't there, Breece Hall was healthy, I'd be talking 50 plus receptions. But I think 37 is a fair number. Go ahead.
40.
40 receptions. Wow.
Jump it. Fuck it. Let's go.
And for Michael Carter and Izzy, I think Michael Carter, he's going to get maybe 11 receptions. And Izzy, I think, will probably get like 4 or 5.
Yeah, I'm like pretty much flipping them. Like, I'm flipping those two guys for the most part. I'm gonna say Izzy like around 10.
You think Izzy's gonna surpass him on the depth chart? Is what you think? And
I think he's more dynamic, dude. I think he's more dynamic. Carter is a liability if you're passing the ball and he's there.
oh, no question. But
I just don't think he's gonna get the ops. I don't think he's gonna get the ops. I think like the fact that Izzy can, flip the field for you.
Yeah,
it's just more logical to get him the ball in space than it would be for Carter. Carter, you're gonna want him to wear down a defense.
He's been looking
so hard to bring down.
Why I say this is because he's been looking good in camp. He's been getting a lot of reps in camp, and that's the reason why I say this. It was really a battle for that last spot on the roster between Bam Knight, Izzy, and Michael Carter. And out of those three, Michael Carter looked like he was the better of the three. So this is why I go a little more favored to Michael Carter personally, especially in a prove it year. If he wants to be a part of a championship caliber team for a couple years, you really need to set the table and show that you're valuable, your value to the team. So receiving yards, out of those 23 receptions, what do you think, my friend?
For who? What are you talking about here?
Alvin Cook, receiving yards.
I don't know, man. I could see. I don't think he's gonna have as much as Brees. I'm gonna put him probably around 250, something like that.
So, okay, he's got 295, 224, 361, 519, 305, and 90 throughout his career. So you said 350?
I would say 225.
225?
Yeah.
Okay. 225. I'm going to go a little less, and I'm going to I'm going to go 220. I think you're right. You're pretty spot on just for the sake of not being the same. I'm going to go 220. But Brees Hall, go ahead.
Brees Hall, I think I'm going to put him at like 425. Let's say 425. I'm expecting him to really go crazy receiving. I think it's going to be a serious factor.
Out of the 19 receptions, he had 218 yards last year. So you're going to go 4 even?
I'm going to say 425. So like I think he doubles his receptions, maybe doubles his receiving yards if he's available for 17.
I'm actually going to go up as 5'10".
Ooh, I like it.
I think he's going to have a really good year catching the football. I think he's going to play, like I said, play a lot in the slot, not just as a back. So he's going to get a lot more receiving yards, and because he can break it, I think he's going to get a couple receiving touchdowns, and it's going to reflect in those numbers. So Michael Carter and Izzy, just to make it quick for the sake of time, I'm going to say Michael Carter, he's got 110 yards, and Izzy's got 95 yards receiving. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. You're good.
Pass it off to you.
Oh, all right. I would say Carter, I'll put him like an even 100, and then I'd put Izzy at 150.
150. Okay, now receiving touchdowns for Dalvin Cook. What do you got? 2 receiving touchdowns. Okay, I am going to go with 3. I think we're going to see a lot of passing out of the backfield. Go ahead with Brees Hall.
Brees, I got 5.
5. Okay, I got 6. I think Brees Hall is going to have a year in the receiving game, and really set the tone. And next year is going to be the most coveted running back in football.
Oh, I love it.
Let's move on to wide receivers. So we can do, for the sake of time, we'll get into Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, and touch on our tight ends a little bit and kind of cruise through Hardman and Cobb the best we can, just for the sake of time. But receptions, Garrett Wilson, how many receptions you got him this year?
Oh, man. I think he's going to get, I want to say like 110.
That's a solid number.
Yeah.
So last year, he had 83. And I am actually going to go 114 myself. I think he's going to have a lot of targets. I think he's going to have upwards of 150 targets this year. And I think
I can see that.
114 is the number for me. Alan Lazard, how many targets do you think he's going to get?
Catches, I would say I don't think he's going to get that many catches, honestly. I mean, I would say like I'm going to go a little bit lower on him, like probably like 55.
55?
Yeah.
So let's see. Alan, spell it with 2 L's. Here we go. Alan Lazard for his career. Here we go. Alan Lazard. So he's gotten 60, 40, 33, 35, and 1. I'm gonna give him 65.
Okay.
And you got him at 55, you said?
Yeah.
And then Mecole Hardman, what do you think?
That's a tough one for me. That's a tough one. I know he's going to be like a gadget guy, but I just don't see him, he'll have his moments, but I don't see him being regularly targeted like that.
I think he's going to be using end arounds and a lot of like you said, gadget plays. I think, in play actions, he'll be running go routes and things like that. Deep balls because he's so fast. In his career, he's got 26, 41, 59, and last year he had 25 while he was hurt. He was having a breakout year before he got hurt last year.
Yeah, I'm going to put him at like 35.
35. All right. I'm going to actually put him at 28. I think it's going to be a very gadgety year for him. I think Randall Cobb actually will have more targets myself. Randall Cobb, what do you think?
Cobb, I got at 45.
5. And I think Cobb's going to have 52. Utilizing third down a lot. I think actually, I retract that last statement. I'm going back. I looked at his career stats. In his career, he's got 25, 80, 31, 91, 79, 60, 66, 38, 55, and then 2020 he had 38, 2021, 28, and last year he had 34. So I think he's going to have 32.
Yeah, I just think like third down, like who you throwing?
Going
it's
back
tough.
to last year, like because of last year, the most recent stats, even though he's Aaron Rodgers' best friend, he's still got 34 receptions. And then our tight ends, let's go Tyler Conklin.
Yeah, now I like Conklin a lot this year. I like him for I think he can get I think he's going to get a lot of targets. I think
68 the last 2 years.
Yeah, I have him over that. I have him probably around, I would say 68.
68?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll give him a solid 65. Just because there's so many weapons that we have to feed, but I'm very, very high on Conklin. I think he's going to be a elite tight end this year. And talked about with the Wallers and talked about with the rest of those guys in that class, maybe not the Kelseys and that special class, but, the really good, Mark Andrews type tight ends. CJ Uzomah, what do you got?
I'm really low on CJ.
Same.
Really low.
Same.
I mean, I'm like, I think there's a good chance Cobb gets more receptions than him. I just don't see him as a route runner.
More receptions than him.
Yeah, I can see that. I got CJ like around 25.
So he's got in his career receptions 25, 10, 43, 27, 8, 49, and he had 21 last year. So I do think he's going to be around 20 myself. What did you say? 25?
25, yeah.
I think he's around 20. Now, I think he's going to be in. There's going to be a lot of 2 tight end sets this year. I think we're going to run a lot of 2 tight end sets and play action and things like that. This is why I think our running backs and Garrett are going to get a lot of targets and Conklin because they're going to use those in the play action, heavy sets,
100%.
along with running the football. But I think we're gonna be in those formations a lot. And I didn't put Rucker on here. I could. I do think he's going to see some targets, and I do think he's going to get some play. But just for the sake of time, let's keep going. Receiving touchdowns. Garrett Wilson, what do you got?
I'm not sure. I don't see him getting a crazy amount of TDs just because there's so many options in the red zone, and once you get to that area, they're going to double him. You know what I mean? They're going to have someone on him. But I could see him like, let's say he gets double digits. Let's say he gets 10. I'll give him 10.
10. I got him at lucky number 13 touches. I think he doesn't need to be on the red zone. Garrett Wilson's a guy that he can get the ball at anywhere in the field and take it to the house. He's explosive. He makes guys miss. It doesn't necessarily have to be rushing touchdowns. And Garrett, you can see inside the 20-yard line, and we know that Aaron Rodgers loves to throw that beautiful fade route. And I think Garrett Wilson is going to eat on those fade routes. I think those are going to be the first. If we're in red zone opportunities, it's going to be the first couple of plays are going to be fade routes to Garrett Wilson every single time, and then we'll do whatever is necessary afterwards. But he's going to get the primary targets. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to feature Garrett Wilson just like he featured Devontae Adams. Like you said, there's going to be a lot of doubles, but there was tons of doubles on Devontae Adams too, and he still fed him the ball over and over and over and over again. So I do think he's going to get 13. If we didn't have so many weapons, I would have put him over 15 to 16 yard territory, receiving yard territory or touchdown territory, because we still got to do receiving yards. I totally forgot to add that. I just think he's still a little bit young of a body to win those doubles. Devontae had a little bit more size to him, a little more physicality to him still. I agree.
I think he needs maybe another year, another off season, and then he can be that kind of guy.
I think Garrett Wilson's a little quicker than Devontae is. I think he can.
He's twitchy.
Yeah, I think he's a little more twitchy and can shake guys and get open a little bit different. And Devontae is one of the greatest. I don't want to say a better route runner because Devontae is one of the greatest route runners of all time. But I do think he's very good at getting open with how twitchy he is. I think that's a great way to put it. Allen Lazard touchdowns.
Allen Lazard touchdown. Oh, I actually forgot to put this one in. I'm going to put him at like 5.
5. I got him at 4. I think he'll get a couple, but I don't think he'll get a bunch. Mecole Hardman receiving touchdowns.
Oof. I'm going to say 4.
4?
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to say 3. I did it backwards. And then Cobb,
I don't see it. 1 or 2. I would say 2 maybe.
Yep, I'm going with 2 myself.
He's going to be a third down guy.
Yep, Conklin,
I have at 7, but I think the ceiling is like 11, 12.
I think you're not far off. I have him at 8, but I do think he can definitely get double-digit touchdowns. I think he's just a freak athlete and very slept on. And Aaron Rodgers throughout his career, like think of all of the great tight ends that have come and gone from those Packers teams. He always features them. So I really think he's gonna have a great season. And then Usama, I think 1 at most, if that.
I put 1 just because he's well liked. Him and Rodgers are clearly buddies. He's gonna throw him at least 1 bone.
Garrett Wilson receiving yards.
1,500.
Boom.
I think this is the year he he steps into elite production.
I am going to say he's going to lead the league in receiving yards. Lead the league in receiving yards, and he's going to end with 1,750.
Oh, I mean, I could see it.
I think Garrett is going to be at the end of the year, when all things are said and done, top 1 or 2 wide receiver in football in all stats: receiving, receptions, touchdowns, and yards.
I love that.
I think I feel very strongly about Garrett Wilson's skills and his connection with Aaron Rodgers. I do think it's special. Alan Lazard, how many yards?
I don't know. These are not going to add up to my Rodgers total yards. 100%.
I said that earlier. Don't even worry about any of that.
Lazard. I mean, let me see. So I got him at 55 receptions. I would say he'll probably be around 9-10 yards a catch, maybe. I'll put him at 425.
So in his career, he's 477, 451, 513, and 788 was last year.
He was the one last year. I think he's a 3, but I think he's more of a decoy.
So how many yards do you think?
I'll put him at 425.
425. Wow. Okay.
He'll have his red zone TDs though. I think he'll have production there, but I think driving down the field he's going to be a decoy, and he's drop prone too.
I think he's going to have 670. I think he's going to be close to 700, but I think there's so many targets and there's so many people that need to eat. I think you're right with the red zone. He's going to get some red zone opportunities because of the size, but other than that, not much. Mecole Hardman.
Mecole, I have him similar yards with 20 less receptions. I think that he is going to break some shit out this year. He's going to have his moment to catch the ball and just fly. So I have him at 400. 400? Yeah.
I have him at 550. Okay. Randall Cobb. Actually, I'm going to do 450 for Mecole Hardman. And Cobb, I'm going to do. Go ahead.
I was thinking not he's going to have low yards per catch. I think he's going to be that guy that gets you, that moves the chains. I'm thinking 325, 315, something like that.
He's averaged. He's got 417 last year, 375, 441, 828, 383. That's his stat line from recent years. So you think what, 485?
No, I was saying 325. I think it's gonna be a little bit lower. Yeah.
Okay. I'll give him an even 400. Conklin.
Oof, this was. I had a lot of trouble with this one.
So 552 last year with 58 receptions, 593 with 61 receptions, and then 194. So he's around 500. I was going to give him 550 personally.
Yeah, I was I think he can, there's a chance he can be one of those 657 kind of guys. But if I had to guess, I'm probably putting him at around 565, something like that.
565. I listen again. It goes back to there's so many mouths to feed. It goes back to there's so many guys that need to eat on this offense that I'm not sure. If circumstances were different, we didn't have as many weapons. I'd have Conklin's stats a lot higher as far as yards and things like that. I think a lot of his opportunities are going to come in the red zone. That's why he's going to have a lot of touchdowns. Uzama, I don't think he's going to get much. I think he's going to get 250.
Yeah, I have him at 7 yards about.
7?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think 250. I think he's going to probably be like around 185. I just don't see it. I really don't.
Let's see. What did he have last year? Uzama last year had in 2022 232 yards last year.
Yeah, I'll give him an even 2.
Okay. Now let's go on to the fun part, defense.
Yeah, and this should fly. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, this should fly. So let's start off with tackles.
I would say, yeah. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Quinnen Williams will start at the top. Quinnen and go from there. So Quinnen Williams tackles in his career. Let's see. He's had last year he had 55 tackles, 35 solo, 20 assisted. So how many tackles do you have for Quinnen Williams?
60. I think he gets a couple more tackles. I think
Tackles.
backs and quarterbacks are now going to be running away from other guys too, not just him. You know what I mean?
No question. No question. I think he's going to be at 50 myself. I think he's going to go down a little bit because he's going to, as far as tackles go, because I think there's not as many running opportunities. I think a lot of teams are going to be passing a lot more.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be, swallowing up the middle with these guys running. And like you said, it's going to get to the point where they're going to have to start avoiding him up the middle and going on the outside. And I think people are going to start game planning for that. So I don't think his tackles are going to reflect the higher numbers. I think it's going to go down a little bit, not by much, obviously. But I do think he's going to have good sack numbers. Jermaine Johnson tackles.
I have no idea. What was he's going to have more than last year. I think he's going to play more. I do like the idea of Quinnen kind of flushing people away and, running them into JJ creating the pressure. I think they're all going to play off each other.
Yep.
But it's tough to do tackles for these D linemen just because the rotation is going to matter, right? If JJ's paired with Huff and as opposed to JJ Clemens, JFM, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really tough to kind of call that.
Too.
So tackles, it's tough. I mean, sacks, I could do sacks, but tackles, like, I don't fucking know.
So JJ had 29 combined tackles last year. So and for reference, let's go Carl Lawson stats, and he had 33 combined tackles last year and 36 the year before.
I think JJ's better against the run. I'll give him 40.
40 tackles. And I am going to go with 36. Go with JFM.
JFM tackles?
Yeah.
I'm going to go 30.
Franklin Myers stats for his career. He had 38 last year, 35 the year before. You're going to go 30?
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's going to get 42.
Okay, so a little bit more out of him.
I think he's going to show up this year and prove himself because again he's one of those guys that got paid and needs to show up. And if he doesn't, he's probably not going to find himself on this team very long. And he needs a big redemption year, in my opinion. Carl Lawson, 33 last year, 36 the year before.
Yeah, I think he's going to be pretty similar. I'll say 34.
All right, I'm going to go 30 myself. Will McDonald. This is a tough one.
I think it's going to be comparable to JJ from his rookie year, maybe a little more. He's got a little bit more sideline to sideline speed. So I think I'm going to put him at like 28.
28. I think he's going to be on the field a lot more than we think. So I think he's going to go 32. Bryce Huff.
Bryce Huff.
Tackles. Let's for comparison.
Yeah, I don't even know what he had last year.
Last year, let's see. 16 combined tackles, 12 solo. So
I think I'm going to push him up to 20.
20?
Yeah. I think
go ahead.
They're talking about him more this year too, the coaches.
I'm going to go 18. I think he's going to be on the field with leads and have more opportunity to rush the passer. Al Woods.
Al Woods. Is he going to be in that starting rotation with Quinnen? Is it going to be them two in the middle?
Yes.
Oh, I really like that. I'm going to put him at I'll say 45.
Al Woods, last year, he had 17 combo.
Really?
Yeah. No, sorry. Last year, 39. I apologize. 39, 50.
Okay.
So you have 45, you said?
Yeah. I think he's next to a better tackle.
I'm going to put him at 37. And then this is going to be the big one.
Who you got?
Mosley. What's his stats? His tackles.
Oh, I think he was just under 100 last year, like 115 the year before, something like that. Or 117, I want to say.
He had 158 last year.
158.
168 the year before.
God.
Yeah. So, I am putting him at 165 myself. I think he's going to eat up a ton of tackles. He's all over the field. I think he's going to be a general on that defense. And like you said, they're going to be avoiding Quinnen and things like that. So he's going to be filling those holes that they're avoiding Quinnen by stepping up into those holes and making the tackle. So I'm giving him 165, and he's going to be up there in one of the league leaders. League leaders. I can't speak.
Oh.
Wow. League leaders. Say that fast.
Jesus.
In tackles with 165. What do you got?
So I think he's gonna go down a little bit. I think what was it? It was Quincy that was under 100 last year, right? I believe. I think
yes.
Quincy's gonna pull his weight this year, so I'm gonna put him at 145, which I still like.
Still
but
great.
I think it's I think just a little less than production. I think he's gonna take a half step back.
And then Quentin Williams stats. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. So when you search Quentin Williams, it gives you
Quincy. It's Quincy.
Oh, that's why. I'm gonna talk.
Quentin Copels.
No, that's what it was. Quincy Williams stats. Okay, so tackles, 48, 11. Last year he had 110. Or 2 years ago he had 110. Last year he had 106. And he was hurt last year.
Oh, that's right. I think I like him for because they are going to be passing more. They're going to have to. They're not going to. I don't think they're going to be able to throw downfield. They're going to have to try to carve up the middle. I think he takes a jump in his coverage and gets a lot of tackles from that, from finding people there. So I think I'm going to go high on this one. I'm going to say 130.
I got him at 125 myself.
Yeah, I like it.
I think he's going to have a great year as well. And Sherwood tackles.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Sherwood, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to put him under 100. I'm going to probably put him
I'm putting him at 95 myself.
95. Yeah, I was probably going to go 85.
Cool, 85. All right, sacks, Quinnen Williams. What do you got?
13.
Boom.
Jump it up. Let's go.
I'm going with 12 myself. I'm going to match last year's. JFM, he had 6 sacks last year, 5 sacks last year.
I'm going to put him at 4.
4.
Yeah.
I'm going to put him at 6. JJ,
I'm going to put at 8.
8. I'm giving him that double-digit jump.
No way. Okay. I like it.
Jump. I think he's gonna force himself on the field. I think he get 10. Carl Lawson.
I like Carl for I think he had 6 last year, 6 or 7.
Let me see. Carl Lawson had 7 last year.
7. I think he'll match.
7?
Yeah.
I think he's got 6 in him. Will McDonald.
All right. This is tough. I mean, for me, the question is, he's going to play. It's him and Huff, right? They're going to play the same situations. Who's going to get more looks? I think Huff gets more looks early. So I'm going to put McDonald at 5, but I think the ceiling's pretty high.
So he had 3.5 sacks last year. Huff. So
Huff had 3.5. I think he'll take a little bit of a jump this year.
So you have Will McDonald at 5?
Yeah. Teams are going to be passing more. I think everyone's, for the most part, going to take a little bit of a jump.
I got him at 6 as well.
I like that.
Brees Huff.
Bryce. I'm going to go.
There's so many Breeses and Bryces. There's so many, and I'm retarded. Go ahead. Bryce Huff, what do you got?
I think he's good for 7.
7. Wow, it's a big jump.
I know.
Big jump. I got him at 6 as well. I think there's going to be a lot of six sack guys on the team this year.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a ton of sacks this year.
Al Woods, I got at 2.
2, yeah, that's where I have him.
Mosley, I don't even know if how many sacks he had last year. Let's see. CJ, he had 1 sack last year. I'd put him in the same.
Yeah, I think this season we're going to see some more blitzing. I think they're going to blitz a little bit more. They got to switch it up. I'll put him at 2.
Okay, Quincy Williams.
Quincy, I'm going to put at 3.
He had 3 last year.
Yeah, he had 3 last year.
I'm putting him at 2.
I'm going to put him at 4. I think he jumps.
Okay, 4. And then Sherwood, I got him at 2.
I'm going to put him at 1.
1. Okay, interceptions for the
backfield, right? Where we were the D-backs. We're just going to go
linebackers. So we'll just do Mosley, Quincy, and Sherwood.
Okay. I think Mosley ends up with 2.
Okay.
I think
put on the list so we can do a quick 2. Quincy,
I'll say 1 just because I want us to win.
And Sherwood
0.
Okay. I'm gonna go 3 for Mosley because there's gonna be a lot of pressure. 1 and 0. But I think Mosley's gonna be in the right spot. He should have had a couple more last year. He dropped.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to get a couple more. All right, let's go into the secondary, and then we'll close out with the team stats, and we're done for the night. And we have football next week. Let's fucking go.
Can't wait.
Sauce, tackles. Let's see what he had last year. Last year he had 75 combined tackles.
75. I mean, it's got to be similar. I mean, maybe a little more because there's going to be more passing. I'll put him at 82.
82. I'm going to do 85 myself. And 10 more tackles. EJ Reed.
I think he'll get tested more balls to his side.
He had 80 last year, and he had 78 the year before.
I'm going to put him at 85.
I'm going to keep him at 85 as well. Both of our guys are going to get 85 tackles. Michael Carter.
what was he, probably like in the 40s or something?
Let's see. He had 63 and 72 the year before.
Okay. I like him for 75.
75. Okay. I like him for 70 because I don't think we're gonna have to make as many tackles this year.
True.
Yeah. Whitehead.
I like him probably like. I think he's gonna do a little bit better. I think you could probably put him like in the 80s.
So
I think he's gonna come up a lot.
let's see. Career tackles 76, 69, 74, 73, 89 last year.
Yeah, I like him for 85.
85. I'm going to go with 80 myself. Amos.
I don't think he's going to be on the field as much as the other guys because we're going to have Adams starting. So I don't even know what to put for that.
Let's swap out Adams for Amos. Let's put Adams.
Okay.
I think Adams is going to take that spot.
Yeah. He's definitely starting.
I agree. Let's go. So he had last year not many stats. 6.622. So I'm going to put him at Adams at 75 tackles.
I like him for 80.
Okay. 75. 80. All right. Interceptions. We got for Sauce. What do you got?
I think he's going to get a lot of turnovers early in the season, then they're going to stop throwing his way. So I'm going to give him 8.
8. Wow. Big jump.
Yeah. Jump him up. Listen, if Tariq Woolen can pull down, what did he pull down, 11, 12 last year, something like that?
I think he's going to have 9 myself. I think a lot of teams are going to have to pass the ball, and they're going to have no choice but to throw the ball at Sauce because they're down and they got to move. They got to try something. Our defensive line is going to wreak havoc. DJ Reed.
I like him for 4.
That's a solid number. I'm going to go 4 myself. Michael Carter.
I like Carter for. I like the way he plays that. I think he's good for 3.
3. I'm going to give him 2. Whitehead
dropped 3 or 4 last year. I think he gets it back, and we'll see 4 from him this year.
Okay, I got 3 from him. And Tony Adams.
Breakout year, 4.
Wow, I was going to go 4 as well. All right, and then sacks real quick. I think Sauce is going to get 2. What about you?
I like 2. I like 2 for sacks.
DJ Reed, I think he'll get 1.
I got him for. Okay, sorry. You just go. You can run through him.
I was going to run Michael Carter 1, and same with the safeties. I think we might get a couple safety blitzes in there. We'll get 1 for all of them.
I got 1 for everyone, and Whitehead has 2.
Okay. Now, fun part. The team stats for the season. We'll save the record for last.
Okay.
York Jets season. Last year. Okay, so we had touchdowns. So we had last year, we had 15 total passing touchdowns and 13 rushing touchdowns. So we had 28 touchdowns as a team. I have Aaron Rodgers right now he's getting 43 passing touchdowns. Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook, 10 and 8. So I'm talking we're going to get, let's just say 62 touchdowns for me is my number. I'm just not doing all the math, adding everything up, just taking a quick look. 62 touchdowns is what we're going to get.
62. All right. I think my math puts me at
72. We'll do 72 because I'm looking at my math. Yeah. 72 touchdowns.
So I'm at like 67, 68, I think. Wait, hold on.
68. Boom.
Yeah.
And we got team interceptions, 3. So you have 2, 1, 10, 11, 15, 18, 22, 26. You have 26 team interceptions. I have 4, 8, 16, 19, 23, 27. So we're close on team touchdowns. Sacks, you are at 13. A lot. Yeah, a lot. You have 28, 32, 39, 37, 39, 46,
53.
50. Thank you. And then I had 22, 28, 34. Is there a way to add this up here? Gotta be a way. Nope. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to run Excel.
I'm actually at 60 sacks. I didn't count my DBs.
60 sacks. Okay.
I mean, I'm sure we could add it up and put it out as a graphic.
Yeah,
this is painful, dude.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, man, we could just add this up real quick. So next is the record, Eric. I'm interested to hear what you think. We're going to end the season this year. The most wins we've ever had as a franchise is 11. And I think we're going to crush it. What do you think?
I'm liking 12-5. Sounds good. It looks good aesthetically. 6 losses still looks like shit. I'm going 12-5.
Big 1-3-4.
Oof.
I think we're gonna hit the 13 win number, and I think we're gonna upset some teams that I think are supposed to be really good, and that's how we're gonna come out 13-4 this year, boys. It's gonna be a fun season. Next week we're doing all Jets pregame talk. We will bring this up at the end of the season to see how close we were. This is going to be a lot of fun to look back on towards the tail end of the season and see how accurate we were on our predictions. But we will be back on Monday pregame. I hope everybody enjoys Hard Knocks tonight. It's probably going on right now. I hope everybody enjoys it. And we will be back Monday. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Really helps us tickle the algorithm, tickle the grundle of the algorithm. Follow us on Twitter, FF Jets Pod. That's our Twitter, right?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Yep.
FOF Jets Pod. It's right there. Scroll.
Yeah, there you go.
See, we got it. FOF. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram, Fight or Flight Podcast. We appreciate everybody that tuned in. Let's go Jets. We got Jets football. Until next time, guys. See you guys later.
Later.
In a city that never sleeps, where legends are born and dreams become reality, a new chapter is about to unfold. Last season, they fought valiantly, leaving their mark on the gridiron. But now, a new dawn emerges, a chance for redemption and supremacy. The Jets have honed their skills, forged their bodies, and sharpened their minds. The stage is set, and they're ready to unleash their might.
no friends in the industry. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies.
We said 60 minutes. One by one, we're gonna knock it down.
Keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back. Yeah, I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies. My brothers and my enemies. My brothers and my enemies. Yeah, I know hey, yeah. No friends in the industry. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies. A fact. Let us start the beat, don't wanna keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my
We're gonna be great, man. I can't wait.